How to make a fat ball feeder without a net. Nets that can sometimes be very dangerous for our very small garden birds. As the LPO, League for the Protection of Birds, reminds us, feeding birds in the garden takes place from November to March, during the cold period. Outside of this period, in spring, summer, and even autumn, birds have enough berries to feed on and to obtain vitamin C. Starting from a good intention, who has never hung their fat balls with that little net, whether green or yellow? Be aware that this net also has disadvantages, as it sometimes happens, and without entering into controversy, that a bird gets caught by its feet or beak. Because of the netting, these same nets, once the fat ball is finished, are often found on the ground, and there is always a risk of accidents. So here is a fairly simple method to avoid all these drawbacks. Obtain galvanized chicken wire that is 50 cm high with square mesh of 0.5 to 0.7 mm in diameter. Cut a strip that is 20 cm wide and 50 cm high. Connect the two sides to create a sort of tube whose diameter is slightly larger than that of a fat ball. The balls must always be accessible to the tits and other birds. And above all, remove the nets that you are going to set aside, because they are also soaked in fat, which will attract the birds. Then thread the fat balls into the mesh tube. Although tits are capable of gripping onto the mesh, it is still preferable to add a few small supports, some small perches, to make it much easier for them to access the feeder. Well, here is what you get with 3, 6, or 7 fat balls without a net using this feeder. Another advantage is that if you have a second home, or if you don't have the opportunity to visit the feeders, it will allow for serious reserves for the tits, but also for the robins, bullfinches, and goldfinches, which will, of course, benefit from these fat balls throughout the winter period from November to March. There are different places to hang our fat balls. One can choose a tree, but I prefer to place my fat balls in the open. The reason is quite simple. The tits come to peck at the fat balls, and there are always small leftovers that they will drop on the ground. And on the ground, it is better for it to be uncovered so that the robins can come and consume it, not just the robins. There are also bullfinches and goldfinches, although the goldfinches prefer to perch, and then there are the sparrows. All this is to prevent predators like cats from catching them.